Down.
0.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Disc Golf Patreon form review live stream. This is where we review people's forms. Those people have paid us money via our Patreon, and they send us form, and I look at it and tell them what's wrong. We have other people who pay us money, and we look at their form on Patreon as well. So you can have a daily form review tier, which is Monday through Friday. You get your form checked, you send in videos, send in update videos, lots of touches. Really, really good tier there, which I think most of these guys have popped off of this, what you're seeing here today, and gone into the dailies. So it's up to you whether you want to do this or you want to do that or you want to do nothing at all. You really have the choice. I really don't have that choice for you. It's crazy. Okay, we are going to get straight into it because we only have 6 people today. Whee! Okay. We'll just start from the top. Lad Squire. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Always using the tech. Using the tech. 48.3 miles an hour, 15 RPM. Okay, everything's good except for speed. $915 RPM's not bad at 48.3. It's a pretty early throw here. So this like turn back X step. I said this like 5 times this week. You are not alone. Lad Squire. This like kind of downward tilt you have going through your X right here. See where this drop starts happening? It's weird because your shoulders are kind of up just to here maybe. The ground does kind of look like this, so maybe your shoulders are either way. You're tilted the wrong direction here at this point through your X. This is how you ought to be tilted through your X. A little bit up. And the reason this is important is there's some correlation. I don't know why all of this is. Not sure why all this is, but when people go through the X step and they start going down here with the shoulders, they also like causes some sort of reflex or something where their body's like, hey, I've got to turn back here to catch you and regain balance. So I almost never see people go through the X step here and also without turning. So it always seems to me like, and I could be wrong here, but experience kind of tells me that when I see this going into the X, I'm also going to see this. Well, what's that other company? Elevate Discs or something like that. They're the ones I'm worried about suing me. So when you come through here, I'm not saying you have to be up like this, but go through here and be favored up a little bit like this, where the shoulders are like up a touch, so that you can get through here without going backwards so early and then coming through earlier, right? So check one, go up kind of here so that you can stay side on through this X. And then when you're ready to turn, that front side's gonna drop, right? But don't let it drop until you're ready to turn. And then after that, now we're waiting for this foot to hit, and then you throw, because you're a little bit early. But I think it's also tough for you not to be early with how you're getting through the X step. So you can go through the X step like this. Whoop. That'd be sick. Kind of slightly up, and then you turn.
That's currently my favorite form video to compare people to.
Yeah.
I go to it like pretty much almost 100% of the time now.
Yeah.
Him and Albert.
Likewise. Skirt, skirt. Okay, let's see. Hello. Okay, front side locked up. Yeah. Yeah, so the stomp's happening, but you're not getting the effect that you need to from it, right? So we can stomp here. So for example, I'm gonna start back here where you can't see me, move into where you can see me. I can just go, right, and stomp on my left foot without getting the effect of the stomp. The goal of the stomp is to have this hip kick back. It's to go, I'll do it this way so that you can see my left hip from behind. So here, this stomp here kicks this backwards and away. And so that is kind of the handle of our whip, so to speak. Right? So this, when we step, pulls here, which starts opening up our trunk. So now from this way, it's here, which then we're rigid enough on the leg. So it's not like loosey-goosey up here. It's rigid enough to where this needs to kick back and start pulling stuff forward. So here, you might need to like encourage your hip to kick back originally. Here, kick this hip away from the target, which is then going to start pulling your core and start pulling everything forward.
Curious to see your thoughts after comparing it to Germ.
Oh, don't say that. Here's the stomp. Look at his left hip kick right here. Whoop. He just starts pulling his belt buckle forward. So if you look at like where the belt buckle is pointing, free stomp is towards us, right? So pre-stomp towards us. Stomp. Slightly forward, but still mostly towards us. Right now, watch here. Boom, 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 boom. See where his hips are at now? He's opened up the lower body to where it's like there now. Versus just your like collapse in and step through. They look similar, right? But not really functionally. If you're here and this twists here behind, I'm going to exaggerate your move a bit more. And this twist behind, I didn't kick this hip back and start yanking things backwards. I just twisted in kind of on myself and I blocked my right hip from coming forward behind my left. Versus here, you kick and it kicks that back. You can have the foot go behind the body a bit like that, like Germ's got here. You both have like a similar back foot going behind, but the difference is how open. Like if we were from a front view, you're like here, right, where you're like twisted in on yourself, and he opens here first, and then the foot like clears, or it goes behind him a bit, not clears. Stomp, left hip being kicked back, stopped technically. So it's relative kick back to the right hip. Drifting forward, drifting forward, drifting forward. Right, this is nice that we have like this thing behind Germ. Come on. Just a normal line. How about that? Left hip's like here. It's just more stopping. Obviously, he doesn't perfectly stop. Mm-hmm. How do you explain this feeling? We'll see. Kind of like a tennis forehand. Yeah, it's hard to show. It's like the difference between. It's the difference between being here and just like drifting and pushing with your arm versus your arm being pulled. Like Germs, it's easy to see when his arm gets pulled back because when he goes, he actually got his like arm more forward here. And so when he goes here, it pops his arm back because of the rest of the pull. You're not getting any pull from your lower body. Like your left hip isn't pulling your core, which isn't pulling your chest, which isn't pulling your shoulder, elbow, etc. Sometimes I have people just like go, like grab something, step, and then start clearing like this, and then they start so that you can feel something more solid than this, hopefully, in place, where you start pulling, and you can feel your body opening up, pulling this versus pushing it. Here, Mikey, come in here real quick. I'll use Mikey instead. The difference between like a shot put type feel, here, come here maybe. Mm-hmm. Just be my anchor here. Yep. The difference between like this and me pushing and just going with the arm versus if I'm here and I start pulling with my core in my lower body, which lays my arm back, versus me just trying to send my arm ahead of the pull. So for you, that starts that you're not getting this, like the pull started down low. Yeah, you've kind of got the like bulk pieces in place, but not the, but no sequence, I guess is the best way of saying that. You're just very pushy with the arm. Gosh, it's crazy, bro. Hip. Feels like a Curios forehand. Like the disc golf Curios forehand. It's crazy. I played tennis last night.
Who went?
Amit. He's in down. Yep. I mean, you just got to do drills like that. Like slide your hand along the wall, get the body going first, feel it. It's kind of an interesting place to be. Reminds me of, I can see Peter in my mind. Germ's arm goes down after release because he's throwing like downhill at the Worlds thing. And so he needs the disc to like turn over a bit and go. Because I think he was trying to get a little distance there. HP Sauce 92. Another forehand. That's good. I wasn't done talking about this. Well, this looks like a nice place to be. So we've got to land heel first here for the same reasons that I just mentioned before. But we get to rehash them another way. No. So here it is. We're going drills for you two. Okay. There's no way for me. I need a wall. I've got a wall there, but it's hard for you to see everything. Okay, so I'm going to show you here. We're going to set up like this along the wall. I'm going to put the wall here in a second. And so from this point, I'm going to drag the disc along the wall with just my body. I'm going to keep my arm kind of tight like this so I can feel this unit. So it's going to look, oh, I'll do it lefty. There we go. They can see this? Okay. So here we are, we're set up with our slightly diagonal foot here, mostly sideways foot here. I'm tucked at this 90. Here I've got the disc behind me. Now I'm just going to open up this hip and let it start dragging the disc along the wall, and I'm letting my arm lay back. You might have to figure out what length you need away from the wall, but pretty close to 90 here. So here, and then move the disc forward. Obviously, you cannot push your hand through the wall. So if you start arming this thing first, you're in trouble. So we've got to go here, slide, let our hand lay back, and then eventually we pop. I'm a little too close to the wall. There we go. My left side doesn't have as much external rotation as my right. Go figure. Here, pulling forward, and then you've got the pop. Here, pulling forward, belly button going forward, hip going forward, pop. Heel, right? I'm not on the toe here, I'm on the heel. Hips going back, pulling the core forward, shoulders, chest, all that. Pop. There. I'll show it righty in front of the camera. Looks like this. Here. Just leaving your hand back, letting it drag along the wall, right? Let it be pulled by your body. And then pop. If you don't have a disc handy and you're somewhere with a wall, which is a lot of places, you just use your hand. So this is where I saw Peter in my head. It's just this thing where you're trying to connect all the chain there. Yep. So this move is just from here, you're just slotting your elbow by pulling it in versus like having that turn and drag in. It's a very different look to my eye when that happens. Where you just decide, boom, I'm gonna jam my elbow forward versus this like drag and you kind of guide it to the slot. So hopefully that helped you as well. Skirt, 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 skirt. But for sure that takes time. Dylan told me that I don't remember what it was. Last off season, he was like, I don't think he can throw a 65-mile-an-hour fastball. And I was like, what? I feel like I can do that. And I think it like slowly crept its way up to, I don't think you can throw 80. It's like, what happens if I do? So the whole point of that was that he had he had said, the big thing is that it's like in the hips there. So the hips like dragging the body forward. And he had this drill that his pitching coach had him do, where he was like mounded up, and his pitching coach, so he was like here, and his coach had an elastic band pulling back that way, so that when he did his stride, his hips would stay closed for like as long as possible, so that then once it hit, he could get that ballistic firing of the hips. So it's like, there's like a very big gap when it comes to quality of forehand based solely on hip usage. Same thing in tennis. Same thing in basically every other sport on that side of the body. HJLDJLJB. I remember when Peter told me, yeah, you're doing your forehands wrong. It's like, what? He's like, it's all arm. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've got the loop. You can like put your arm in the right motion without having the right engine behind it. Okay. This kid, the Ultra Flexi. Now, didn't we talk about footwork last time? Wasn't he on the last live stream and we talked footwork?
It sounds familiar.
I'm almost positive. Almost. Because this looks like the same thing at this point.
I will check.
No, it's not the same file, but the form is the same. All right.
But wouldn't that mean he would have done 2 in 1 month?
Depends on his billing period.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that twist to get from here to there. Yeah, we talked about this last time. I'm going to rehash it for you because it still needs a little bit of work. Okay, so you're here, which is too open. We talked about turning this way. Right, so it's not forward here. Still needs to happen. So we still need to go here with this right. Here. And then we need to get through here, drifting. Not getting this far behind our left. Right, don't let your head hang back over here. So we're going to go turn this. As you take your cross step, let your head go forward as well. Don't leave your head here and send this step. Right, it needs to be letting the head drift as you go forward. So close this foot off. That means turn it that way, not forward. As you go through this step, don't go back like this. Let your head move above your body. Centered. and then do your final turn. Okay. There. 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 Head drift. Have your foot forward at this earlier spot. Oh, not forward. What am I saying? Have your foot this way. Not this way. Move, let your head drift. Whoop, as you move forward with your body. Okay. Mijokam on the backhand. Boop. Did something change?
It's good.
Okay.
It's been doing that.
All right. So first thing is from here. I think it's because you're like a little too toeward here that it's kind of pulling you towards us on this last step here. See how your weight, your body's drifting like here, and then it goes like whoop. It changes direction and starts moving towards us. I think that's kind of a waste there. But I think it's happening because you're a little too toeward. You're here. Super toe oriented here. And then falling towards the camera. I don't think you need to be that toe oriented. Take this last step and roll this way with it. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but there instead of being here, your toe like pulling you forward this way, and now you having to stagger in order to save like your balance. So try to kind of roll through your left more forward. That's the first thing. And I think your counterweight's like a little aggressive. It's like really sliding forward. So the cue that I've been giving people for this to get them to not have so much like drift is basically if you try to brace, but you also try to keep your left side, your left foot down. You try to stay planted here. It's gonna move forward some, but you're not gonna get all this like extra drift. So just try to keep your left foot on the ground, and you throw hard enough that you won't be able to. Like your back foot will lift up.
I'd say that maybe is the perfect example of it.
See how his knees didn't like clap together? Because you need as much like anti-forward movement as you do anti-rotational movement with the hips, right? So if you slide this back here, yeah, you can block the hips better, but you've also got this big beefy back leg drifting forward, causing your hips to drift too far forward. Boop. It's kind of the difference there. And it's got implications here.
Mhm.
Chest. So, yep, just try to keep that left leg on the ground. And it won't. But you'll get way closer to this. So. Am I wrong in thinking most big throwers have a much larger plant leg backward lean, maintaining that sort of A-frame of the legs compared to most of us AMs who have a much more vertical plant leg? Absolutely. And I think it's the ability to stop. I think a big part of it is the ability to stop the trail side. To keep this leg here close to that A-frame. Because I think if this sucker slides forward, you're just folding like a lawn chair over this front foot. It's like the whole backside just goes like that. So, which it's tough to stop that backside because you have to have some like core strength, lower body strength. Yeah, it takes a lot of strength to stop. So, what? Boop. There we go. But yeah, most guys do a really good job of maintaining that A-frame once they hit. So I think, I tell people sometimes just like Eiffel Tower, like plant that foot and just get your A-frame, get your Eiffel Tower, and just stay there. Try to maintain it, which is super tough. The BG5. I dig it, I dig it, I dig it. I've played on T-pads like this before. Man, when they get wet, brutal. So, I want to give you a little freedom within your footwork here. Like you worked really hard to keep this foot from going too far backwards. And then once you coil, it squeaks back. This is a totally acceptable place for the foot to go. So I think you can kind of be more natural with that. And if it lands there, totally fine. Totally fine. Kind of trust yourself there that it's not going to just go straight like backwards. It's not just going to be like, whoa, if I stop thinking about it. Right. So that's the first thing. Give yourself like a little leeway there. Let me see the rest of this just to make sure. But I wasn't crazy about the start of the backswing. Yeah. Okay, first deal here is your first move coming out of your chest is your hand. So I'd really like to see the shoulders. I'd like to see the shoulders start this move first. So here, who are you? How do you know me in the old ways? Okay. So from here, instead of moving this first, shoulders first. Everything, both of the problems that we're touching on right now for your form are both shoulder coil related. So the first is this move out of the pocket. Don't have this move start with the arm. Have this move start here and let the elbow unhinge here. All right, just so that we can attach everything to coil. Right? And then the other thing is once you coil, I can't read it. I thought I might be able to. If we're talking about distance and we're talking about trying to drive most efficiently, instead of getting here, right, take that belly button, take it all the way like 200 degrees away from the target, like more than 180. Let it go, let this left shoulder, instead of this left shoulder hanging here, let it move back like that. So like that, okay? So it starts with the shoulders and we turn the shoulders all the way there. There. And that would put my arm about there. So attach that move to the shoulders. Like that. And then you can work on your extension. Cool. That's it. That's it, gentlemen. If you're still watching at this point, and if you're planning on getting Gyropalooza, we've got them. We got them in stock. That's all I'm going to say about that. Alcaraz. Speaking of the tennis. All right, guys, we're hopping off. Thanks for tuning in, as always. Till next time, peace.